Welcome into Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here in Locked On Sports Atlanta. Today on the show, a pro football focus stat that confirms what we saw on Sunday. Braves could sure use some Matt Olson right about now. And my favorite dynamic duo got the majority of snaps. We'll talk about all of that next. Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into this Thursday edition of Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta in your search browser. When you get there, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. We are free and available to download on all of your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Odyssey. Give us a 5-star review. Don't forget, now you can find us on Amazon Fire and Roku as well. Then follow me on my Twitter page at JMCH316. So I came across an interesting stat yesterday from Pro Football Focus that really did kind of confirm probably what we already knew. One of the things we talked about in the game is there was no doubt that Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints went after A.J. Terrell and Casey Hayward. So one of the stats that Pro Football Focus puts out is what they call, quote, perfectly covered plays, unquote. What that is a perfectly covered play is where every coverage player on the field earns a coverage grade of 0 or better on a single play, okay? So basically a very successful play where everybody does their job, right, in coverage. For week 1 in the NFL, the Browns, Vikings, and Bengals had the 3 highest percentage of perfectly covered plays. What I thought was interesting, though, is only 3 teams in the NFL had a lower percentage than what the Falcons had. The Seahawks, the Commanders, and the Chargers all had a lower percentage. Now, to be honest with you, didn't pay enough of all of their games to know. But when I saw that stat, it just confirmed to me about what I thought from Sunday. That, look, I love Casey Hayward. I love A.J. Terrell. They've got to get it cranked up and going. And I wasn't surprised to see that the Falcons graded out so low because Jameis Winston with Michael Thomas took his shots. And look, Winston had a perfect quarterback rating in the fourth quarter of that game. And now this week doesn't get any easier. I don't know if you saw or not, but, Cooper Kupp was, the offensive player of the year in the NFL. He was the Super Bowl MVP. They have another good wide receiver core. And while I believe in Hayward and A.J. Terrell, and I do think they do a bounce back, because what's going to be fascinating about this week's game in Los Angeles is the fact that Jalen Ramsey got torched on Thursday night. A.J. Terrell at times got beat. And I won't say that he was getting way beat in coverage, but Winston made some good throws and Thomas made some good catches, right? So, look, I expect both Ramsey and Terrell, who last year graded out as the top 2 coverage corners in the entirety of the NFL. I think there's going to be a little tete-a-tete, and they're going to want to show one another, hey, who's the best out there? And I'm fine with that. Look, if that's the motivation that A.J. Terrell needs for this Sunday to really get it cranked up and going and get back to being the guy that we saw for, last year, I'm all for it. Because it's going to be another week where it's not going to be easy with the wide receivers that the Los Angeles Rams are going to toss out there to them. And Cooper Kupp's a handful. Thought somebody described it best. Cooper Kupp does such a great job of just getting open, right? And that reminds me of Wes Welker. Wes Welker was a guy like that, whatever the physical things are and speed or this or that, one of the things that guys like Wes Welker did, Wes Welker was a master at getting open. Cooper Kupp is like that as well. Cooper Kupp always finds a way to get himself open. So this is going to be another big-time test for Terrell on Sunday, and I think it's going to be fun to see what he and Ramsey do. We'll talk more about this in just a second, but first let me talk about my friends over at BetOnline, betonline.net. Look, NFL season kicks off tonight, right? Got a whale of a game tonight, right? Kansas City Chargers, right? Tonight, hell of a game that's going on tonight. BetOnline.net, if you're interested in getting on the action, All of your best sports wagering information is right there at your fingertips at betonline.net. Head there today, check out their esports, betting odds, podcast information, scores, information, whatever that you need is available to you. Take that mobile device, head to betonline.net, and get all of the information that you need to be a smarter sports wagering information person. So, NFL kicking off tonight, college football getting underway. We got golf, MMA, we got baseball headed down to the look. Believe it or not, baseball's only got a handful of games before the playoffs are here, right? I mean, just a handful of games before the playoffs are here in baseball. Head to betonline.net today. It's where the action starts. But I really do think that this is going to be a fun matchup of two of the better corners, maybe the two best corners, in the NFL that have something to prove, right? Ramsey didn't play very well on Thursday night. Terrell, while I'll say that he wasn't awful, but he didn't grade out very well. And Michael Thomas was able to make plays over him. So, look, it's not going to be easy this week. It won't be easy next week with Tyler Lockett and some of those guys. But I'm not upset about the fact that A.J. Terrell had some struggles on Sunday. I think that for him is used as motivation to get things cranked up and going this week. And look, they need him. We'll see what the pass rush looks like. The Rams are kind of a sum of their parts offensive line. They don't have a first team all pro, an outstanding guy. They're some of their parts, and they do a really good job. But, they got torched on Thursday night. They gave up 7 sacks in that game. So you would expect that the Falcons' defensive line is going to be able to make some hay and get after Matt Stafford and make his life tough. Well, even if it's not a sack, we saw this with Winston early in the game. Even if it's not a sack, force him to have to make a throw early. Force him to have to get rid of the football before he wants to. That's how you get a quarterback into making a mistake. Get him to have to throw it before he wants to. Get him to have to make a quick read and just kind of rely on where the receiver is and make a throw. That's where a guy like A.J. Terrell has to pounce. And I think if we get the combination, look, controlling the line of scrimmage, right? That's everything in the NFL. The NFL is not a hard game to figure out. If you can control the line of scrimmage in the NFL, you have a shot to win. Doesn't guarantee you'll win because you need a play from your quarterback. You need a running back to make a run, wide receiver, a play here, a this, that, the other, give me a turnover, whatever. But you're going to be right in every NFL game if you can control the line of scrimmage. And I think that this is a good challenge for the Falcons on Sunday. They can get after Matt Stafford and do some of the things that Buffalo did, and they created some turnovers against Stafford. This might be a chance for A.J. Terrell and Casey Hayward to get themselves back on track. If you can't get some pass rush, Cooper Kupp is a handful, and he's going to find a way to get open and make some big plays. So I think that, chess game, that tete-on-tete, and I think you're going to see both Ramsey and Terrell want to have a big bounce back coming up on Sunday. All right, when we come back, Braves sure could use some Matt Olson right about now. I'm going to give you some numbers that ain't very good. We'll talk about that next. Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked on Sports Atlanta.